Let's talk about some different types of AI. I'm going to start by giving some example problems that people might solve with various types of AI. See if you can spot some similarities between some of the problems and some differences between the two groups. So one study might be, here's the blood results for a patient, like amount of this protein and that protein and this chemical. What's the probability that they have some particular disease? Um, Item two would be I want to study how a new app helps students learn this one topic in math, or maybe it doesn't help them. How could I design that study? Um, and what conclusions could I maybe make from that? Another one would be like, here's a photo from a camera that I've placed out in a field, and maybe I'm studying eagles. And for each photo, I want to know, is there an eagle in this photo or not? The fourth one is if I have a data file and I want to make a graph of the data using computer code, let's get the AI to write the code for me based on a description of what I want to see on the graph, what the x-axis should be, what the y-axis should be, etc. Another one could be that, like I said in the previous video, we've attached a sensor to a steel girder on a bridge, and it makes kind of creaking sounds, but are they regular creaking sounds, or are they creaking sounds that it's starting to indicate failure? The sixth one is if I'm reading a paper that someone wrote about a new technique in microscopy, and I look at some results that I got a few years ago when I was using a microscope, what do I need to know about the new technique that tell me maybe I could now improve my old experiment? Maybe I could ask AI about that. Another one is, like in the previous video, if I have a microscope image and I need each cell in it highlighted, or I need each region within a cell highlighted, and I don't want to sit here highlighting things by hand, can I get the AI to do that for me? And the eighth one is maybe I need a diagram to show how I structured my experiment, but I don't have a lot of graphic design skills. Maybe I could describe it to an AI and have it give me a diagram that I would hopefully then check for accuracy, etc. So pause the video while you're figuring out how are some of these ideas similar to each other or different from stuff in another group. I'm suggesting you put them in two groups. All right, so welcome back from pausing. Here's how I'm thinking about the groups. All the odd numbered items, we're asking for a number like a probability or a set of numbers like probability about each pixel in the image being part of the cell or not part of the cell, or a yes, no, and we can record like a one is a yes and a zero is a no, so it's a number. Where all of the even numbered items, we're asking for something that's sort of non-numeric and maybe even a little creative, like writing some code or writing some paragraphs about how to study a situation. Um, or writing a paragraph about this journal paper, this new one, and my old one, and what I can learn from the new one, or a diagram. I mean, you can say, let's represent that with pixels, but there might be better ways. So here I've put them into two columns with all the kind of yes, no probability number things in the first group, and all of the more sort of creative language oriented things in the second group. And I've titled the first group as predictive AI and the second group as generative AI. So let's talk about those labels. So predictive AI has been used for decades on blood test kind of problems. And since around 2010 for like, is there an eagle in this image? Or does this sound mean that the seal is about to fail? Predictive doesn't always mean forecasting the future. It just means forecasting something we don't know, even if it's in the past. So like, was there an eagle in the image? Generative AI is the second group, like I said, and it first really hit the public in late 2022 with ChatGPT. Both types are important in STEM work, even though generative gets all the press these days. So we're going to be talking about both types in this course because predictive AI is just as important in science and technology and engineering and math. So for any task that we're thinking about, we should think which type of AI should solve this. We should even more ask ourselves which type of AI can reliably solve this. Like ChatGPT basically claims it can answer anything, but how reliable is it? And how acceptable is that level of reliability? And we should ask, is the type of reliability or the amount of reliability different for different types of inputs or different groups of people? You would want to know if the AI was good at this, at predicting things for this group, and bad at predicting that for some other group. Um, one way of thinking about reliability or randomness is there any randomness in what the AI gives us? So with predictive AI, you would hope that if you feed in the same image twice, it would give you the same probability twice of whether there's an eagle in the image or something. With generative AI, we're kind of open to more creativity. And I'm not saying like there is no wrong answer. There are definitely wrong answers, but there are often multiple pretty good answers and multiple kinds of wrong answers and everything in between. And sometimes to get some of that creativity, these apps actually deliberately inject randomness into the process. So if you feed in the same prompt twice, you might get two very different answers. Usually they'll be roughly the same, but not exactly the same. So when we're doing STEM problem solving, we want to think about when and how to use AI for a task, thinking about the capabilities of each type of AI, the risks that are involved, any ethical implications. When we're thinking about these different types of AI, here's some words you might typically see to kind of clue you in that they're using predictive AI. So for predictive AI, it's classification, image segmentation, convolutional neural network, which is abbreviated CNN, recurrent neural network, RNN, or LSTM or GRU. These are kind of on their way out, but you'd still see them in some published papers. Or YOLO, standing for you only look once, in image segmentation usually. For generative AI, you'll see the words large language model or LLM a lot, the words transformer or attention, and those can be used in predictive AI, but they're more common in generative AI. You might see the words multimodal model, where it's a large language model that can also handle things like image and sound to some extent. You might also see a generative adversarial network again, but again, that's somewhat older. Some other vocabulary you might come across is machine learning, neural networks, deep learning. Those were all used for predictive AI, and they also describe generative AI.